Hello, my name is Megan Arns, and I am the Director of Percussion Studies at the University of Missouri School of Music. Today I will be playing the snare, keyboard, timpani, and multi-percussion etudes from the General Percussion Option for the 2021-2022 Missouri All-State Band Audition. At the end of each excerpt, I'm going to provide some helpful tips for your practice sessions. Hi everyone. So for Missouri Audition Etude number 2 on timpani, I have a few tips for you. One of the first things I do when I start working on a timpani etude is to figure out the stickings. So I usually take it at the tempo that I'm going to perform it at. For this recording, I chose tempo 100, which was kind of in between the marked tempo of 92 to 108. So I put a metronome on with that tempo, and I play through the etude and looking for stickings that are not just alternating or that aren't standard. So in the first line, there are two places like that need to have a double sticking. So in bar 2, for example, I put a double left on the last two B flats before the final E flat. And in bar 4, if I were to do it as alternating sticking, I run into a problem if I come down to the lower drum with my left hand. So instead, I do a double right in the beginning, and then I start on the B flat with the right also. So I do that throughout the etude to make sure that my stickings all work out. Then I go down to a lower tempo and actually practice the coordination of everything. But I want to make sure that my stickings work at the tempo I'm going to be performing at. I try to avoid cross stickings, although that is an option as well. In this etude, I decided to go for all shifting, so I did double some notes to make that happen. When you're playing an etude on timpani, make sure that you're playing in the correct playing zones on the drums. To find the correct playing zone, find the center of the drum and the edge of the drum and go 1/3 of the way up. And this is going to be different for each drum because they're different sizes. So that's the general playing area that you want, and it's going to be the most resonant on timpani. If you get closer to the center, it will be more dead, and if you get closer to the edge, it will sound choked. So you want to be kind of in that sweet spot. And a good way to practice that is to put a video camera or your phone on the timpani so that you can see if you're playing in the correct playing zones. As the text at the bottom of this etude states, that this focuses on the transition from a triple feel to a duple feel as it moves from 12/8 to 2/4 and back to 12/8. So that's one of the main focuses of this etude, and what the people listening to play are really going to be listening for a really smooth transition between the two. So what I would recommend doing is taking the notes and the rhythms out of it and simply just working on going from 12/8 to 2/4 using eighth notes. So for example, if we put our metronome on, this is again performance tempo, but you could do it at a slower or a quicker tempo. I'm going to do 4 beats in 12/8 and 4 beats in 2/4. Okay, I'm a little fast here, I'm a little slow here, and if you do that repetitively and with different numbers. So maybe instead of using 4 beats for each one, you could do it longer, or you could do it shorter as you get better at it, and kind of create different exercises for yourself to get used to that transition. Then put it back with the musical material. Dun digga digga dun digga dun 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 digga digga dun gung. All right, so that's one of the main rhythmic things in this etude. The next thing that actually is stated at the bottom of the etude is care needs to be taken to ensure that the drums are muffled on each rest. So really make sure that you're doing that. I actually write in an X over each of those, so I really make sure that I'm muting the drums. I recommend muting both drums so that, because usually you have played both drums, so you need to mute both of them, but even if you've only played one drum, sometimes there's a sympathetic resonance, so the other drum is still sort of resonating or ringing. And so I just like to get in the habit of muting both drums. So for example, in the beginning, mute. And when you mute, I like to mute with the pads of 4 fingers. So I've got my index finger still holding onto the sticks, but the other 4 fingers are available. It takes a little bit of getting used to that, the coordination of it. Sometimes you hit the drum or drop the mallet or something like that. So it takes some practice, but by having all 4 pads of those fingers available, you can really get the resonance out. When you kind of sweep the drum, you tend to make a little bit more noise. So again, here's my example of muting. So you hear it just a little bit, but it really doesn't get in the way. Okay? I hope these tips were helpful, and good luck with your timpani practicing. If you would like more information about the University of Missouri School of Music or about the Percussion Studio, check out our website in the description below. You can find our Percussion Studio social media channels by searching for Mizzou Percussion on Instagram and Facebook, and view past performances on the University of Missouri School of Music YouTube channel.